The Hawaii Theater Conquest has just arrived, guys, and we are going to be doing a breakdown of all the different things coming. We're going to be taking a dive into the new mid-phase tally system, the new Tropical Warfare Handbook, and the new melee zones that have arrived. Now, for my personal opinion, guys, this really is a mixture between the old school Rome map that we had, but along with a little bit of New York. If many of you guys know the two maps that we are referring to, these were some very newish maps that came out recently when land maps were the only thing available, and we only got to play them once or twice each. They are that new, and then obviously they have removed the land conquest maps only, and they're now bringing out the new ones. But this is basically going to be breaking down everything and talking to you about the new Hawaii. There will be timestamps below, that way you'll be able to easily access any of the content you're personally looking for. With that being said, guys, if you haven't already done so, make sure you join the Discord so that we're going to be giving out codes for you to be able to get some free in-game loot every week. That being said, the first one will be airing just after this video has gone live. So if you haven't already done so, make sure you click on the link below to join my Discord to get your free in-game code loot. So guys, we're going to jump straight in with the melee zones. Now, we're going to start with the melee zones because it's the most easiest thing to learn. It's straightforward and it's right here. So with that being said, we have got different melee zones around the map. Now, this is very similar and identical to how it used to work back in Rome, where you had air zones where you could only send in fighters and bombers. But with this one, it's troops only. So it's going to be fighters, bombers, it's going to also be ground units, but you cannot send your base in there. I mean, you can send your base in there, you just can't build your base in there. So with that being said, these zones are very similar to a little bit like Hegemon. We're getting a little bit of hint of Hegemon coming in, and the way this is going to work, guys, is whenever there are units within this zone, you're going to be getting capture points if you have the most amount of units. So for example, to make this very easy and used to understand, let's just say there is 10 units from my alliance in this zone, and there are 9 enemy units in this zone. We will be capturing 1 point. Now, I don't know if it's 1 point every second, 1 point every 10 seconds, but every time a point goes up, whoever has the most amount of units will get a capture point. And at the end of the opening, whoever has the most capture points will gain control of this area. So again, only units can go into this area here, and you cannot build your base. Now, I do believe you could truck through, you just can't build your base. So sending your truck in would be pointless and will get you killed. With that being said, though, as I said, it's whoever has the most amount of points will end up capturing it. And when you capture it, you gain dominance points. Now, we will go into the mid-phase rally straight after this so you can understand what you're getting points for. But as mentioned, guys, I'm not too sure if it opens for 1 hour or maybe 30 minutes, but it opens up every like 2 to 3 days. As you can see here, it's at 2 days, 17 hours. So I'm assuming it's going to be around every 3 days. But when these open, you're going to be able to go in and capture it. Whoever has the most capture points will end up getting it. So before we jump into the mid-phase tally, guys, I did just want to give you an overall look of the map. The map obviously is very big, and the reason it's very big is because it's almost like every single area needs to be utilized. So with that being said, obviously, as you can tell here, there is one of these sort of melee zones in almost every corner of the map. And there's also going to be one here and one here. So as we saw on that big map a second ago, the actual melee zones are in all 4 corners. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, but then you also have obviously 4 on the north, south, east, and west, and then you've got like a total of 8 in this middle section. So there are a lot of melee zones available, which means you also are going to need to build roughly towards them. You don't technically need to build all the way up to here, but obviously you're going to need to build your bases here just to be able to send your units in. So maybe having some sort of easy access to teleport in would be preferable. With that being said, though, guys, if we take a look here at the layout, it's kind of a square map. Everything here is obviously a safe zone up the top. We then have a safe zone here. Basically every single area is kind of a safe zone, and the middle bit is like everywhere that's going to be unlocked. So it's kind of nice because it means that people can't get around behind you. everyone is going to be in front of you wherever your safe zone is. So for us, for example, this is our safe zone here. No enemies can come from behind. Obviously, the enemy can technically go in here and try and fight for this, but they can't enter into our safe zone. And it's going to be the same on each side, which obviously until the safe zones open later on in the game, there isn't going to be much of a threat only in one direction. So that's kind of different. We don't normally have that. Normally you have threats from multiple angles, whereas here your only threat is going to be from one direction. Well, technically two, because you've got two openings here. The same with each side has two openings, but it's only going to be from like either north, south, east, or west. It's not going to be from multiple different directions. So with that being said, guys, let's jump into the mid phase and kind of get to understand how this whole system works. Now, as we mentioned, whenever you capture those places, you gain dominance points. Now, the way these dominance points work, guys, is it is going to be here, as you can tell. So if you capture one of the level 1 areas, you're going to get 5 points. If you capture a level 2 station, you'll get 8 points. And if you capture a level 2 lava station, you'll get 12 points. And then we have the settlements, the entry pods, all of the old stuff that we know in Warpath. Every time you capture one of these, you'll end up getting more points. Now, when you have more points, you will obviously be higher on the leaderboard. Now, the way these rewards work is actually kind of smart. So the higher rewards you have, guys, so let's say you're in first place like this alliance currently is, you're going to get better of these rewards here. So as you can see on the screen here, these rewards are going to be better than these rewards. I mean, technically first and second actually have the same rewards, but if you have a look between second, third, and fourth and so on, it actually looks like these here have the same rewards as well. And I'm guessing here we go, yeah, so it's every 2. So first and second have the same rewards, third and fourth have the same, fifth and sixth, and seventh and eighth. So the item rewards are better the higher up you go, so you'll get more of these rewards here. Whereas the worse you perform in those sections obviously means your units aren't as good, or your bases aren't as good, or whatever it may be. You will actually notice that the buffs here, the premium buffs, these buffs will get better the worse you do. Now, the reason for that obviously is if, for example, you are the strongest alliance and you're doing really well and you're dominating, you don't need the buffs as much as the team that aren't doing as good. So with that being said, they will actually get worse buff rewards if you do better. So could it be that people will purposely not go after, you know, the melee zones so that they end up actually getting the better buffs, even though they're the stronger alliance? I don't know. That's something we need to think about, because people might actually try to do that. They'll just ignore the melee zones, let the weaker alliances take them, and technically, yeah, sure, they'll lose out on some of these items, but they'll gain better buffs overall, which means more kills. I don't know how people might look at it. I personally would rather have the better items, because these are permanent, whereas this here is only temporary because they only last inside of this L4. With that being said though, guys, there are 4 rounds that last 6 days each. So from the moment you start the L4, there's a 6-day period, and then there's another 6-day period, and then there's another 6-day period. So as you can see here, round 1 has been done. We then have round 2 here, then at 7 days, and then at 13 days. So with that being said, every 6 days, this point system goes through, and whoever has the most points, or depending on the rally, it depends on where it's going to land. Now, the way these work, guys, is I'll quickly show you here. These are the different buffs. Now, the buffs at hand, guys, are at current stage here. So as you can tell, you got round 1, you get these options. Round 2, this one gets an extra one, but then that stays the same for round 3 as well. So the way it's going to work is these are the different buffs available. Now, we'll start at the bronze and we'll work our way up, guys. So the bronze buff are for anyone who finishes in like the first and second and so on, but you can get a buff of 5% truck speed, which is pretty not that good in my opinion. You then have airlift recovery rate 5%. Again, it's good, but it's not anything amazing. The next one here, burn speed of 10%. It's better, but not crazy. Now, here is where we're starting to get interesting. Reserve recovery rate 30%. I think that's actually a very good option to have. And honestly, I would be happy to, you know, grab this if I was to somehow get one of these. The next one here is going to be troop training speed of 25%. And finally, building speed 10%. Now, for me, out of all of these are the two that you'd want to think about. Primarily, this one here, the mass conscription. This is just going to keep you in the fights a lot longer, get your reserves up in a third of the time, which I think is going to be much, much better. With that being said, guys, we're going to jump into the silver. Now, the silver one here is reserve recovery rate of 60%. That's huge. Really, really nice. The next one here is troop drop +2 resets daily at reset. Now, this troop drop, I'll show you what that is in 2 seconds. The next one here, troop training speed of 50%, not too bad. Airlift recovery rate 18%, again, not too bad. And finally, airlift to allied territories +1 resets daily. Now, does that mean every day you'll be able to teleport once towards your allied territory, as in your allies all around? Or does it just mean your own alliance territories? Because I know it says allies, but you never know with the wording. I'm hoping it's going to be similar to the Argent kind of thing where you can teleport to other alliances, but we'll find out more soon. And then we also have here the golden buffs. Now, the golden one here is airlift recovery rate of 35%. This is pretty nice, don't get me wrong, but I'm sure there's better. We have troop drop +4, so we could have 4 troop drops reset daily. We could then have airlift to allied territories 2 a day, so you could airlift to territories twice a day. That's pretty nice. And then we have troop training speed 100%, which is good. And then finally, airlift to neutral territories resets daily. This is very good, if I'm honest with you, and very, very strong. So the way it's actually going to work, guys, is you'll actually only get given 3 options. Okay, you'll only get given 3 random options, and your alliance leader can only choose one of them to use. But once you do select them and choose them, they do last the entire rest of the L4. So as I mentioned, guys, if we have a look here at the different rewards and the buffs, we will see that, for example, my alliance here chose to get the drop troop rate. Now, the drop troop, the way this works is we will be able to drop a singular troop anywhere within your own territory. Now, you can't obviously drop it into enemy territory or anything like that, but let's just say, for example, I'll give the best option. Obviously right now I'm in the water, but let's just say I'm on land and I want to send my sort of naval unit to a fleet. I could go into my own territory and select to drop my actual unit into the water. So let me click on here, for example, and you can see that I'm able to drop a unit into the water. I think that this is kind of cool. Obviously, let's just say you're in the water and you want to drop it onto land. You could drop a Howie, you could drop your MB, your light tank. You could drop 1 unit, and depending on the sort of buff you have, you can have either 2 or 4 of said units. So I think that's actually kind of cool. It's a really cool little feature, but it's definitely something new, and I'm sure we'll probably see it return elsewhere. So that is basically it for this section here. Now, again, after the tally, each alliance can choose one of the 3 random ones they get given. So you can't, again, as I mentioned, you cannot just randomly choose to have anyone you want. You will be given 3, and you have to choose one of those 3. So if you want this one, for example, but you get given these 3, tough luck. You got to choose one of these 3. With that being said, obviously, I think that it's still a nice feature. People can't just use what they want. It is kind of a little bit of base and random luck. But moving on to the Tactical Warfare Handbook. This kind of feels to me a little bit like New York, okay? So the Tactical Warfare Handbook is pretty insane, and I'm wondering if it's going to be a spender's delight or not. So the way this handbook works is, as you can tell, I've got a level 2 skill, a level 3, level 1, level 3, level 1, and level 3. This adds up to 13, hence why my handbook level is level 13. It could go up to 72. Now, for these, for example, you can see firepower. I am able to obviously get 2% and so on, and this is level 2. So level 1 it's 1%, level 2 it's 2%. If I go to here, you can see my HP is at 3%, and then obviously you have different sections here depending on, you know, what these handbooks are. Now, the way to get these actual handbooks, guys, is during the conquest, every 100 enemy reserves of grade 10 or higher eliminated, earns you 1 field manual. The rewards increase on the conquest progression. So obviously the amount you get, I assume, is going to increase. Now, open for a chance to receive one of the following items. And then obviously it will give you the random items. Now, you can convert these handbooks in. So as you can tell, we've already got one of these. We can convert this. And when we convert it, it turns it into a field note. You can use the field notes in here to open up new and bigger and better levels. So again, to get these, you literally just need to be able to convert them. But to get them, obviously, you need to be opening them. Now, you can get a few different ways of opening them. Whether you can spend money, I'm sure you can spend money. Let's quickly take a look, because I haven't looked into that myself. But I'm sure there's probably going to be a way for me to spend money. This is the new capsule event, which we will be making a video on as well. But it does look like maybe... here we go. So you get them here from daily, and you can also buy with the diamonds here for the battle stars, and you'll get more of them. So the way these work, as you can tell, level 7 stuff, the more money you spend, the more things you're going to get. But then basically you also have the conquest veteran here, where I know you can unlock them through conquest veteran. So again, any of these you get, duplicates, stuff like that, you can convert them and turn them into other stuff. I feel like it's not going to be out of reach for everyone, but it's going to be hard if you want to try and level this up to get the higher ones, but it's going to be worth it, and I'll show you that in a minute. So as we can see, we have firepower, HP, we have field troop officer skill boost, we have field troop officer skill resilience, we have field troop normal attack, and we have field troop attack resistance. So nothing for in the base, it's all for pure field fighting. Next thing on the list here is you have these assembles. So field manual daily supply, obviously you can get 10 field manuals a day from obviously the 100 enemy reserves. You have the missions, the battle stars, you have battlefield glory and tactical ops, hidden ruins, which means I'm assuming battle glory. Okay, so you could buy them. Yep, so more money, guys. You could buy them from here. Let's see where else you could buy them from. We got the tactical ops, which is obviously another gift, but that is very expensive. And then you also have another one here, which the event is closed. So the hidden ruins, I'm not 100% sure what that is, but potentially it might even be something to do with the melee zones. I'm not 100% sure right now, but it doesn't look like it. I don't see any hidden ruins here. But yeah, with that being said though, guys, I do think that it's a cool little handbook. Now let's show you what you get for leveling this handbook up. And it's kind of crazy. The first one is you get troop training speed 10%. Nothing crazy. The next one, base damage resist 5%. Already it's getting better. Moving on, command truck speed 10%. That's going to be nice to, you know, get around the map a little bit more. It is a big map at the end of the day. The next one here, troop damage intensity 10%. That is quite a lot, guys. That's quite a lot. The next one is crazy. We have barracks, hangar, and shipyard capacity +4. To me, the fact that we can get a built-in buff for your units is insane. The next one here, guys, is troop training speed 50%. Very nice. We then have damage resist of 10%. We then have a reserve recovery rate of 50%. That is huge. Then, guys, we have got here the base damage resist of 15%. So everyone's going to be a little bit stronger. We have base and anti-aircraft fire base power, which honestly to me, that's nothing crazy, but 30% is still 30%. We're not going to complain about it. We then have a low time of 10%, which is basically a 10% damage buff again. And then finally, guys, we have barracks, hangar, and shipyard capacity +8. So we can get a total from the +8 as well as the +4. We'll have a total of +12, which means I do believe you can get like 1 extra super heavy instantly. You can get 2, 3, is that 3 Howies? 3 more Howies than normal. Your base Howies would be 28 Howies if I'm doing the math correctly in my head. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see for those who do max this out, how much that's really going to help. So yeah, this is the new handbook, guys. As I mentioned, it's pretty crazy. We've already been through the melee zones. Obviously, we have the original things like the Conquest Veteran, the Battle Plan, and so on. But overall, guys, let me know, what do you think? I think think that this is honestly amazing. It doesn't look like there's anything new in here, but yeah, I think the map itself, the layout of the map is very nice. It's definitely different to what we're not used to seeing. We've got a nice square ending here. It is another land ending. I know most people do prefer the land middles rather than the sea middles, and I think Lilith have understood that because of the fact that we've only got one or two. Is it just Vancouver that is the sea ending? No, because you've also got Alexandria. So we've got two sea endings, and I think this is the third or fourth land ending. So they're definitely prioritizing land endings, and I'm happy for that, and I think most of you guys are also happy for that. So let me know, guys, down below, what do you think about this new map? I think honestly it is really nice. I really do enjoy the way that the map looks. I enjoy the different options and features that are available, but overall, guys, I really do like this new handbook, the mid-phase tally system, the melee zones. I really do think that it is genuinely a nice little map, and I'm excited to see the newer maps that are going to be coming out, because it does look like Lilith is going in the right direction with, you know, how they are proceeding and moving forward with the new map designs. So with that being said, guys, I want to say thank you to everyone who's tuned into this video. I hope you've all had an amazing day. And remember, if you haven't done so, guys, join my Discord. I will be posting some codes for you to get some free in-game loot. I hope everyone has an absolutely beautiful rest of your day, guys, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone.